Touch on the first thing here. So the first thing is actually pretty simple, and it's before I start talking to you about how to do traffic stops and whatnot. This will be very brief and simple. This is basically what I would like to consider siren mastery. Now, we are in online mode. As you can see, I have tattoos on my online NPC right here, and I got the police officer online. And the reason I say we're on online mode isn't because I'm trying to brag or anything. It's actually because there's actually a special feature you get online that you don't really get as much in story mode, and that is actually triple honking. So here's what we do. So for instance, assuming you're rolling code 2, this is what you do. So you tap it lightly. I actually made a video about this like way back in the day, like in 2016, I believe. And you just time it right so you don't make a sound. And if you actually time it the right way, there's no sound on the other people's screens. If you try to go code 3, you can go the bland way. I prefer not to go this way because it's not really the best way to go because there's a lot more variety. But if you do roll this way, you can also do wigwags if you spam right on the D-pad. This is kind of like ELS configuration. Now, I don't know why my right headlight's out, but you can also spam right. If you want to like clear traffic, you turn on your sirens and just hold down L3 on PS4. It's the same thing on Xbox. And that's like if you're moving through traffic. So for instance, if I was doing this, and I just came up to an intersection, right? And I wasn't very aware of what would be up at the intersection, but I'm assuming that there would be traffic there anyways. What I would do is I would kind of slow down a little bit here, watch both ways, stops traffic, and we're good to go from there. The next siren pattern I want you guys to know, and this is in case of like Code 99 situations, like really bad shit, is you like double tap your L3 button. And this way you have a horn. Now the horn actually does, and by the way you can also spam right if you're really flexible here for wigwags. Now the horn actually clears traffic more. It may also make them go a little bit faster, so use that at your disadvantage or advantage. It's up to you. But there's also another thing about the sirens before we go on to tip number 2. If you were doing a direct mode patrol, you can actually press it once, then double tap it and keep doing that, and you can actually get repeated blip sirens. Now I don't have a clip of that, unfortunately. But you can actually do that if you time it right. Now, also, if you do light somebody up, like an NPC, if you light them up on the right side, they'll pull on the left side, they'll pull over to the right. If I lit them up on the right side, they pull over more to the left. So that's just another thing in case if you guys like to do direct mode patrol. There's a car in like the middle of the road, all right? So here's what you do. So it depends if you want the traffic to go by or not. Now, most cases you want it to go by, so here's what you do. If you want to go by, just park your car right here. Or maybe if your car's already back there, which it should be, just get back in it and turn off the sirens with L3, and as you guys can see, the cars are going by. Now, this is going to be contrasted with if you did not want the cars to go by, / if you had your sirens still on. So if you just turn your sirens still on, you'll see what happens. And the cars that are upcoming will just stop instead of go the other way. As you guys can see, the sirens on, the lights being on actually does impact the probability of the cars going around. Now, that car went around only because he's in another lane that I'm not blocking. And these cars aren't bound to go around either. So that's the exact reason why, that's exactly what you should do if you want cars to go by you, is basically just get in the car and simply just press L3, turn off the lights, and you find yourself in a lot of these here civilized traffic stops where actually, you pull over a car and they don't freak out. Watch my video on how to be a better civ for how the civ should act in a situation like this. So what you do here before you even do anything, optional, but I prefer doing this, is just do the code 2 pattern I actually told you to do earlier. Basically, repeatedly do that. And if you can actually read the page, do 1M9 to dispatch, or 1M5 to dispatch am, give me a 1028, because that is actually the 10 code for a plate check. That's going to be 69 Figueroa Orion Ida 971. You wait a little bit, your dispatcher and your party, you can designate whoever that is freely at your leisure and your choice. They'll come back and say whether or not it is okay. Now, if it is a warrant, what you're going to do is you're going to double tap the triangle button to keep the door open. And if you have a gun, you aim it at the passenger door. Now, I don't want to get traffic around me pissed off, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to act like it's normal. So a few things in a traffic stop. If nothing comes back on the plate, nothing's stolen, no warrants on the user, everything's fine, here's what you're going to do. So you're going to approach through this side. And you can also do another way, and I'll show you what in a second. So you can go through this side, say your stuff. Hello, my name is Officer blah blah with the blah 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 department. The reason I'm pulling you over is blah 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 blah. Can I ask for your license, registration, proof of insurance if you have any, so we can further this. You can do that, or you can do another thing. Now, before I even show you how to do the other side, take note, never go between the cars. If you went through here, this is a bad place to be. Don't walk across cars. This is the most important tip probably out of them all. Don't walk. Sorry about that. Don't walk across cars. Like if it's in front of your cruiser and behind the suspect's vehicle, that's not going to look pretty. Now maybe if it's behind your car and there's another unit behind you, then that might be good enough. But if you want to approach on the passenger side, which was what I was getting at before, please proceed with caution. Maybe have a flashlight out. Just be prepared in case if anything happens. This is the approach for safety. That way you can see what the driver is doing at all times, or if there's a passenger, you can see what he's doing as well. Because for some reason, it seems that the passenger side has better peripherals. But if you cannot do this without walking in front, please stay to the left side of the driver's side. So basically, you'd ask for all the identification I said, and if it comes back clean, I'm sorry, we're not even there yet. Sorry. So whenever you get your the ID back, you can do one of two things. You can go back to here. You can crouch at the door and run the ID. Or you can come back here and keep doing the L2 timing thing. And it's like 1-5 dispatch. You'd say to dispatch 1027, 1029 on A, and then whatever the guy's name is that you're trying to run. So, for instance, if it was John Marlston, because Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out soon, 1027, 1029 on John Marlston. One is a license check. The other one is a subject records check. Just there's a difference between the two. If it all comes back clean, what you can do is you're going to come over to his door up here, and you're basically going to either issue him a warning or a citation based on the misdemeanor. That, again, I can go into an entire another video just based on that if you guys want. Say, okay, here, if it's a citation, say, here is a citation for this. This is your copy, this is mine. This is not admission to guilt. This is just to prove that you're present at the traffic stop here with legality. Sign here the bond for me. This is my copy, this is yours. And that being said, have a great day. And the thing is, the suspect will drive away, but don't try to turn back to your car before. One of my friends actually told me this whenever I was like a little bit more novice at it. Now, I don't have any AI in this car, but let's just assume that it was driving away, so let's just do this for safety. Basically, whenever that thing drives away, not that thing, but like he drives the car away, whenever you know that he's about like further down the road out of your reach, then you can actually get back into your car. And whenever you get back into your car, or before you do, and you do the chin brush action, I know this is a lot to take in, but I'll answer any questions you have in the comments. 1 out of 5, or whatever your unit number is, show me 10-8. And if you are the last unit on the scene, not just if you're like going 10-8, if you're the last unit on the scene, then you're able to say code 4. That means no additional units are required. Or another higher-ranking officer can say code 4 because he knows what would be right. But if you're the higher-ranking officer, you know to say code 4 if, for instance, the situation isn't handled. For instance, the 1019, since the suspect in custody, at least in these codes, is already happening. And number 4, back to online now, we are actually bringing in more of the actions. Now, the actions are stuff like this. For instance, I'm on the radio right now talking to somebody. Like I said, I made another video on this earlier for more information. I'll just go briefly through a few. Like, this is to search a car. If you actually go up to a car whenever the door is open, for instance, and you wanted to search, you can also like press L3 to bend over, or you can just crouch like this. Either way works for you. And if you're a detective, you can also take photographs of the scenario with the photograph action. And as I did say in the actions video, if you want the first person to look a little bit better, just disregard the accessories there. And yeah, so actions are very important. For instance, air synth would be used to search cars. This would be used as frequency right here. Oh, not that one. This would be used as frequency right here to go over the radio and call in. And this is the one for the detectives. So just a cool few little things. I've already made a few videos that touched on this. Third tip I want to bring to you guys' attention today is who has what. Now, I don't have a pistol on my character right now. I didn't give him it. But actually, in case if you guys haven't analyzed it, I've found out like a few months ago that the driver of the LSPD cars has the pistol, and the passenger, whether it's just the passenger to the right or it's in the front or back, assuming it's like that car over here that spawns the unmarked cruiser, they all have shotguns. The driver has the pistol. Now, of course, they can't just carry the shotguns on a traffic stop unless they know it's deadly, in which case they can treat a warrant this way, open the door, maybe bend down a little bit, and aim at the driver's side to get him to get out of the car. But assuming that won't happen, they also have to carry a pistol. The reason why these people have shotguns, the officers and the passengers have shotguns, is because supposedly in LAPD cars, not this Crown Vic or the real-life Charger only, but there's actually weapon racks that hold shotguns, so they can be ready at any moment's glance, but the driver can't really exactly reach over them. So Rockstar actually did accidentally, I guess, implement a really good feature that the police do have in this game. And the same should apply for your roleplay. Now, you can always get the carbines, you can always get the shotguns from the trunk if you are the driver, in case if you really need it, you can take cover and then start banging people over here, not be taken that way. And yeah, it's actually very nice. And the attachments that every officer should have is at least a flashlight on any weapon that they have. The traditional loadout is a carbine rifle with a flashlight, of course, if you're SWAT with an extended clip with FMJ. The shotgun with a flashlight, there's no real other attachments on there. Maybe you want to do a suppressor. And the pistol with a flashlight as well. And that's basically the layout and who has what in the game and in your role plays. Now, of course, if you are in a clan or you're the leader of a clan, you are subject to change. By all means, that's just what I was saying is traditional. Not everybody has to follow it. Here is roadblocks, because in case if there's another people in your clan or enough people in your little group there, you have to have roadblocks or a suspect, especially if you give good 10-20s. For instance, if you're on a traffic stop, you'd say eastbound, westbound Joshua, like I'm on right now. If you were to set up a roadblock, there's a few good things you should know. Keep your sirens on, walk code 99 if it's a really bad situation, or just code 3 as it is. And hold down R1 and L2 and L3 to the left if you want to get a good roadblock. Now, as it's called a roadblock, don't just pull right here as I showed you that right here. Instead, pull in the middle of the road and try to turn your axle to the right. Now, what you're going to do, you can do one of two things. You can equip yourself with the gun and start aiming this way, or if you're really quick, you can try doing this way, which got the NPCs to get very mad. If I wanted to get them out of the vehicle and they actually stopped, I'd say, hands out of the vehicle, sir. And if not, I'd probably start going for tires because you just put me in danger. 2 tires right there, out. And that's 3. But if they actually go right by you, be careful. Just try to run out of the way because you know that that car will get hit into you. And I'd rather you be alive rather than the car, even though it's just a video game still. At that point, your vehicle would probably be totaled. And in that case, that's going to move us on to our last point. Do not persist and just keep on going with the vehicle that's as totaled as this one. For instance, this one looks like it has minor scratches, but it definitely did get hit in the windows from an NPC. I'm sure the engine on side is not very good, even though it looks good. Still, I wouldn't stay with it. Now, maybe a minor scratch like on the door right there might work. So for the sake of it, you could still keep going if you wanted to. Of course, as I did say, my civilian vehicle, not my civilian vehicle, my civilian video, if you do in fact go fast enough, you might actually run out of gas. But luckily your car in roleplay, we assume, has more gas than the civilian's car. And if that's the case, then you can always find yourself going to the local RON station. And yeah, so with that being the last technical key point, let's get into some of the more like enhancing these. If you're trying to do like a little bust, or you know a wanted vehicle is going out, you can turn off your lights as long as it's not after a certain amount of time. You can turn off your lights and start following the vehicle. If you need to see the plate, you can turn it on. Brights like this probably aren't the best way to go because it may get suspicious and they'll get blinded by you. But you can keep at least like a 2-car, 3-car distance between the suspect that you're following. And if you want to sting them, you can at any time. And if it's a warrant, they can hold it out like this. Not like that. Oops, sorry. Just get your gun out and get the door open. This is a Los Santos Highway Patrol. As you can see, he's going out. You can't really shoot the tires at that point, even though I know most people are tempted to. And yeah, so basically that's just the last bonus point I want to tell you guys about. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know for sure. And I just had to trigger him. That being said, guys, I'm Officer signing out. Let me know what my next video should be. I'm surprised you guys watched this long. And with that being said, guys, I already said it, but signing out.